the feminine urge to overanalyze a children's book. Hi, this is Two Girls, One Plot. And as always, these are us, we are the hosts.
We do host. My wonderful co-host is named Senya.
And my wonderful co-host is named Nicola, and this is still a Harry Potter reread podcast. Spoiler alert, again. What, is it the 8th time we're making a spoiler alert?
I feel like we have to do a spoiler alert at the beginning of every episode. I feel like that's podcast etiquette.
This is a reread podcast. If you have not read Harry Potter books, what are you doing? Where have you been? How's life there?
Mm-hmm. So before we get on to today's chapter, we have our segment. What have you been reading lately, Senya?
Oh, our listeners, you're going to either love this or hate this. I am not sure this is love-hate for me. So my TikTok feed has been overtaken by none other but Ben Barnes.
British actor, played Prince Caspian among other roles.
Yes, I think Prince Caspian was one of his earlier first roles.
It's where I know him from. Yes.
Yeah, I only saw him in Dorian Gray before. So, and one of his recent roles was in this Netflix show called Shadow and Bone, there's a book series which is called Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo.
If it was not explicit, the television show is an adaptation.
It is an adaptation
of this book series. I have not watched the show yet. I decided to start with the book because I was interested in what the hell is that about? And I think I've made the mistake of my life by picking up those books. So why I decided to actually pick up those books is because they are said to take a heavy inspiration from Russian language, 19th century Russia, Imperial Russia itself, and other Slavic cultures and languages. So I was thinking, okay, since I am Russian and I know quite a little bit about Slavic languages and culture, I should take a look. I did take a look. So I bought the first book and I finished it in a day and a half because... Let me tell you why. Because it's a fast read, because it is just very active writing, high stakes everywhere. It's like watching the Vampire Diaries. Every episode, something's happening, somebody's dying, and then coming back to life. So it's high stakes. Second of all, the print was huge, so there wasn't much to read. And you could tell that this is the first book by this author. Otter wrote this book, guys.
It was the first book by this author. Because it wasn't particularly well written. The characters were... So the main character is obviously not like the other girls. And secretly, she's the most special girl in the whole world.
We should make clear this book was published in the early 2010s.
2011 or 12. This is when it was published. It was very popular back then. So it was very popular back in time to write books about the girls who are the most special girls in the world.
But they're also plain-faced and no one would think...
So half of this book of the Shadow and Bone is like, oh, but I can't be this magical being because I am not pretty. Can't you see? I'm just not pretty. I'm not pretty to be this magical being. And then there is the 500-year-old morally ambiguous Shadow Daddy, which is the only thing that I liked about this book, and now I'm just too invested into the plot. So I've started the second book, Siege and Storm. I'm about halfway through it, and already the writing is better, but the characters still really, really lack substance, motivations. They're like little cardboard. And the borrowing from the Russian and Slavic cultures is crude. I want to say so. The analogy I made today was, imagine you were reading a fantasy story that is
borrowing from North American
from American culture, but with like no background for that. So this is just a fantasy world, generic. You feel kind of familiar with the setting of it, and then out of nowhere, you see your characters are going through a village, and then they see a celebration of the 4th of July, and you have nothing but a question why and how did that happen? How in that universe those people came to that celebration. And none of that is established. So the world building is atrocious. It's bad. But now I'm just in it for a plot, for this. It's just the plot. I just want to know what happens in the end. I just want to know why Shadow Daddy's fucked up.
Oh, if it wasn't clear, the 16-year-old, not like the other girls, is the most special, has a romantic relationship with 500-year-old Shadow Daddy.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
For a little bit. It's not like a romantic relationship because this is teen. They have one kiss and they are supposed to have intercourse, but this doesn't happen because this is YA. That would never. Yes, and the main romantic interest of the protagonist, who is a 17-year-old most special girl out of all of them.
Sorry, 17.
17-year-old, yeah, not 16. She has zero chemistry with her main love interest, who is her childhood friend who she grew up with in the orphanage.
But don't worry, he's very hot, so they don't need
Like,
chemistry.
he's supposed to be super hot, like to the point when there's a point made about that the girls of like higher status are looking at him like, wow, lusting after him.
Oh my God, I just made this connection. This is Bella, Edward, and Jacob.
Kind of.
Yeah. One's old and morally ambiguous. One is peak physical specimen, and one's a girl who's not like the other girls.
Right. And she's secretly the most special thing ever. She's a shield. But no, in this case, she's a sun summoner who's been prophesized and whatnot. And then, so yes, those books give me nothing but confusion, but I'm too invested to now drop it because I just want to know what is the issue of the 500-year-old Shadow Daddy. I want to know what is wrong with him so that I can fix him.
Okay.
What have you been reading lately?
I haven't had a lot of time for reading, so I've been reading Dungeon Crawler Carl and really liking it. I spoke last week on the pod that I was kind of iffy, like 30 pages in. I'm now a good solid 200 pages in, and I'm having a great time. It's silly, but it has in-universe reasons for it being silly. So, like, Dungeon Crawler Carl is aliens low-key destroyed Earth, created a dungeon video game that's real, though, but it has very much video game logic that all the remaining Earthlings have to go into, like 14 million of them, and they fight mobs and bosses and things like that. And it's kind of like the Hunger Games in the sense that it's being broadcast to the universe, and you can get like sponsorships and things like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's a little silly, but everything has like an in-universe explanation. So I'm like, that scratches my brain in the right place.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's been good. I get what Anissa, shout out, hey Anissa.
Hi, Anissa. Thank you for selling me 3 more books today.
I get what Anissa said when she said it's like a popcorn book. I'm like, oh, I could easily read this and read it again. And like, there's implications of darker things, but like, it's not too strong. So I'm having a good time with that. Okay, so for those who don't know, I have a background on my computer, which is book themed because I like books, as you can tell from the Reread podcast and my mentioning of being president of a book club. And I made the mistake at work to show that, not on purpose. And then my coworkers were like, oh, do you like to read books? And I was like, I don't know how to like open this can of worms gently enough for a quick, coworker conversation.
Yeah, after today's haul, thank you, Anessa, so like what I asked from Anessa today, I was like, I like the plot of Shadow and Bone in terms of that. I like the 500-year-old Shadow Daddy with complicated backstory and morally ambiguous with the unclear motivations. And I want something like that, but only in that specific area. So there doesn't have to be the super, like, the most special girl in the world in there. There doesn't have to be, like, magic or whatnot. There doesn't have to be a certain world building. I just want a morally ambiguous villain. And she sold me 3 more books. And now I'm thinking no more books for a while just because I have a stack now to read.
Yeah, I've had to make that commitment. I mean, you can look right here. I have my last stack from Anissa, and I've only gone through one of them. Like, just too many books.
Yeah, and that's besides the books I saved for you.
Yeah, there's been a lot of books. I was out shopping today, as you know, and I saw a couple things. I'm like, oh, that would be nice. I'm like, no more clothes until you finish your sewing project.
But as you know from the message I sent you from the library, Vancouver Public Library is going to have a used book sale on August 28th
8th to September 1st.
Yeah, to September 1st.
It would be nice to meet other book people there. That would probably be nice.
Yes, and if you want to acquire gently used books for a bargain price, come check it out and hang out there. And it's a library. It's cool.
What else is there? I don't know. I'm close to DNFing Death Note.
I'm not going to tell you not to.
It's just...
And I'm also not going to judge you for that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
at 16, I would have loved this book.
Yes, this is what I wanted to say. At a certain age, it's acceptable and it's a good read at a certain age. But then when you grow up, at least a little bit, like somewhere in your head, you're just like, this is so cringy.
Yeah. So one of the things is, I'm sure you and our listeners will know, if you haven't read Death Note, like, it's been out forever. It's super famous. I don't know what you've been doing. Maybe you've been like me and you don't read manga, but whatever. So, like, the main guy starts off his ability to kill people at will by killing just like general criminals. And I'm too knowledgeable on how the criminal system works. And I'm not even that knowledgeable to know that like simply having a conviction does not mean that like someone is a violent person or bad person. Like, you can have bad things happen to you. You can be put into a cycle of violence, that sort of thing. And also, I'm not a proponent of the death penalty. And it's also like, I don't know, maybe this will change. And hey, commenters, if you can tell me this will change, I might continue with this book series. Does he start like killing people of note, or is it just always random criminals? Like, if it's just going to be his ability to kill criminals, I don't think that I'm really going to like it that much. And him and the main guy and the special detective, the most special detective, playing their cat and mouse game is not that engaging to me, because they're like, we're both the smartest boys, and we're catching each other. And then the last thing is that this is based in Tokyo, and apparently in this book, there's tons of violent crime in Tokyo.
Unrealistic.
Look, I have done zero research. I have done zero Google searches, but isn't Japan famous for not having a lot of violent crime?
Well, it is so famous for not having a lot of violent crime that any violent crime makes headlines.
Yeah, so I'm a little bit confused. Like, this is almost taking like an American or even comic book idea of how common violence is. Like, gun violence as well is common in this. And I'm like, Japan famously doesn't have a lot of guns.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, when I was first dabbling into Death Note, it was more about the nature of light. Mm-hmm. So, because he is so much under the impression that he's superior. Mm-hmm. And then there comes this, or in his case, doesn't come this realization that he is no better than the criminals because he is doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So I'll give it a bit more time, but something will really have to show some quality or surprise me in this first book for me to move on to the second one.
Got it.
Okay, you ready to start?
We're back to school children.
Okay, and this chapter is called The Midnight Duel, Chapter 9.
Wow.
Would you like me to do a brief synopsis?
Please.
So it starts off with Harry going on about how much he doesn't like Malfoy, which we already knew, but we appreciate being reminded. Then they find out they're going to learn about Quidditch and how to fly brooms. This is very nerve-wracking and also exciting for people. The only downside is they're going to learn with the Slytherins.
Oh, no.
Neville gets a package at breakfast of a gift his grandmother sent him. A gift which in itself is not important to the chapter, but it was nice of his grandmother to send. Malfoy tries to steal the gift and is quickly caught by Professor McGonagall. Then at the Quidditch session, when everybody is very nervous, Neville takes off a bit too early and can't control his broom, falls off, and injures himself. The teacher, named Madam Hooch, great name, says, "Hey students, nobody do anything. I'm taking this boy to the hospital wing." She then leaves a bunch of 11-year-olds unattended, and they immediately start doing things. Malfoy sees that the present Neville's grandmother had sent him is still there, picks it up, and is generally mocking Neville. Harry steps up to the plate and goes, "Hey, don't do that. Give back the present." And Malfoy goes like, "You're gonna have to catch it from me," and starts flying. And Harry, showing an immense amount of natural talent, starts flying as well and chasing him. Eventually, Draco throws this gift, and Harry has a amazing dive and catches it right before it hits the ground. This is seen by Professor McGonagall, who is furious, or at least we think is furious.
She looks furious.
And then pulls Harry away. Harry thinks he's going to be expelled for this, but no. She introduces him to a boy named Wood. Oliver Wood is the captain of the Gryffindor Quidditch team and is very excited because McGonagall thinks that Harry is the next seeker for Gryffindor. Then we learn that Harry needs to get a broom and that McGonagall's going to take care of it. Harry goes back to his life and then has another run-in with Malfoy, who mocks him. And when somehow, in the way that only 11-year-old boys can do, this leads to them being challenged and challenging in return for a wizard duel. What's a wizard duel? It's like a regular duel, but wizards are doing it.
11-year-old wizards, apparently.
Yeah. Then Harry and Ron are preparing for this duel. By preparing, not very much because they've only been at Hogwarts for like 2 weeks, so they don't know any magic. They leave the common room to go to the duel, but Hermione Granger tries to stop them. They don't listen to her, and on their way out into the corridor, they notice Neville Longbottom, who has been fine since he was fixed like hours ago, but couldn't remember the password to get into the common room, so decides to join them somewhat unwillingly on their journey to meet Malfoy for a duel. They go to the trophy room where they're going to meet Malfoy, and Malfoy doesn't show up. But
who would have thought?
I know. But guess who does? It's Filch with his cat, Mrs. Norris.
Wow.
The students then go on a mad dash to try and escape Filch, helped by the fact that when they tried to be quiet, there was an incident with the suit of armor that made it impossible to stay quiet anymore. They're running, and they run into Peeves. Peeves, the poltergeist, doesn't seem that he's going to help them, and he actually calls Filch to them. But he decides he dislikes Filch more than he dislikes the students, and instead of helping Filch, mocks him. The students then are really nervous, run somewhere else, and they're in a room when they decide it's time. Okay, it's good, we can leave. They turn around, and what do they see? A massive 3-headed dog. The students quickly leave the room, terrified, and make it back to the Gryffindor common room. When they get up there, we get the famous line from Hermione Granger. Would you like to do the honors?
I hope you're pleased with yourselves. We could all have been killed, or worse, expelled. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to bed.
Beautiful. And that is our chapter.
Surprisingly, it's also not a really long chapter. Unlike the previous one, so many things happen in this one. It's packed.
Yeah, quite a lot happens.
Yep.
Also, we are now over halfway through the book.
And still, there hasn't been any significant development to the plot. There's a lot of just setting the background for everything that's going to be going on.
Well, I mean, we have to first establish then what do we think the plot is. Is the plot Harry going to wizard school, or is the plot the Philosopher's Stone?
Well, there's the Philosopher's Stone mystery that comes through as a silver thread through all the chapters.
Yeah, I would say that that's the main plot.
This is the main plot, and we still are. So we're getting there, and I do believe that we're getting breadcrumbed there. We're given so little information, but this is what makes it good.
And it's also she's using this time as well to establish the location, the characters, them being kids.
This time is used very well for world building, which Miss Verdugo could learn a little bit about.
It's really sad when you're comparing, like when you're saying J.K. Rowling is such a better world builder than this other
exactly.
author.
Yeah. When I say, oh, J.K. did it better, the world building, the setting up the world, can you imagine how bad it is actually? Oh my God. Yeah, we start with this overall dislike towards Slytherins and the anticipation of the flying lessons. I do like the fact that Malfoy seemed to be bragging about escaping Muggle helicopters. This kind of made me giggle a little bit. This would be an exaggeration for sure, but can you imagine?
Well, wouldn't that like involve the Ministry then? Because they would see a boy.
That absolutely would. So this is definitely a whole load of a bull.
Actually, that made me think of something. So there's a phrase that I find to be quite true, and it's confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud. And it's the idea that insecure people need to talk about their achievements or the things that they're good at because they need to assure themselves and everybody around them that they're good at something.
Yeah.
Or that they're a good person or something like that, where someone who is confident in themselves doesn't have to talk about that.
I agree with that.
So it makes me think, like, Malfoy is constantly talking about how great he is. Or not how great he is in, like, I'm the best wizard who ever lived, but, like, he's great at flying. He's the right sort of wizard. Like, every time we interact with him, he's either being cruel to Harry or somebody else. A lot of times that's our interaction with him. It's always tinged with him being like some version of, I'm better than you. And I do wonder if this is something that he's like secretly insecure about because he's gone to Hogwarts. He's realized that like maybe he's not inherently better at magic than everyone around him, especially Hermione Granger, who's, you know, as much as she's not liked, is very good at magic.
I think Hermione, just from what we have been given so far about Malfoy and about Hermione, Hermione must be the bane of his existence. And I feel like this is where a lot of the fan fiction comes from.
I guess.
Because there has to be like this tension. It would exist because he believes that by being a pureblood wizard, he should be better than everybody else. And here she comes. A muggle-born witch is better than him at everything.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but so during like my first or second year of university, I had like a ferry trip to go on. And so like I brought the first couple books with me because you can speed through them really fast if you want to. And I don't usually read the later books. I think I've told you this. I tried to read the 5th book a few years ago and I like gave up pretty quick. So I'm like, nope, this is very sad. Tried to read the 6th book, similar thing. Haven't even touched the 7th. But I have not, in any of the books that I have read, remembered anything about Malfoy that made him like someone who would be a romantic interest.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Like
I understand what you mean.
I don't know if it's just that there isn't really a lot of, but there are a lot of options in this book. There's so many men or boys in this book.
There is.
So many male characters. I think we've talked about it as like the fan idea of Draco Malfoy is very different than like what's in text.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like Tom Felton is to blame.
He was a better child actor. I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is partially to blame for it, I feel like, because even as a child actor, he just gave too much charisma, I feel like, to the character.
He had the riz.
Yes. And that probably made him somewhat appealing. But if you look at the book, Draco, he's nothing but a bully. Just a bully. And when I'm saying those things about Draco and Hermione, I am talking only about like the tension.
Yeah.
Because it would be existing for sure. I understand why, from his perspective, he would hate her so much.
Yeah, I concur. So I think that maybe this is why he's so boastful. Like he probably doesn't.
Like to the point he uses a slur against her in the next book.
So everybody's nervous about flying. We have a football reference.
Oh, yeah. I do love this line that Ron had already had a big argument with Dean Thomas, who shared the dormitory about football. Ron couldn't see what was exciting about a game with only one ball where no one was allowed to fly. And I wrote a note, me too, Ron, me too. But, well, at least during this FIFA tournament, we found something to be excited about.
Yeah, we had a good time.
We had a good time. We were excited about Harry Kane and Erling Haaland, and we were excited about those things.
Those two players.
Those two players only. Then we were excited. Before that, we were excited about Canada actually getting into the round of 32 and 16.
16, which the men's team has never done that well. Our women's team is excellent.
Yeah. I don't know if we're able to compete with the women's North Korean team.
I don't know, but so the most goals ever scored by any professional FIFA soccer player is a Canadian women's athlete. Christine Sinclair.
The things you learn is her voice on the Canada line announcing the stops.
I don't
like it was.
I know that when she went to I think it was the Canada versus Qatar game, the news coverage had to pause because people were cheering so much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool, actually.
Anyway, going back to it. So lots of the boys are guilty of being boastful about their experience on broomsticks.
Don't all men.
Hermione's nervous, and when she's nervous, she studies. So she got a book called Quidditch Through the Ages.
And I have a note here that we actually have the book, but only in Russian.
You can read it to me like a bedtime story.
Yeah, it actually talks about a few Quidditch tricks in there, including the Vronsky fint. Yeah.
And then Hermione tries to teach everybody what she's learned, and according to Harry, they don't appreciate that. Then Neville gets his gift, which is the Remembrall. I really like the name for that.
I do really like the name too. I don't think this is a good gift.
No, because it doesn't help him really.
I don't think it would help anyone really. It's like, oh, you forgot something. If you forgot something, you forgot it. You have to know what it was. Hello?
For a nervous boy like Neville, I don't think that helps.
Or like in general, I feel like a thing has to be developed further to actually be showing you what you forgot.
The purpose of it in the chapters, it's just a ball-shaped thing that Harry can later grab to show off that he's good at Quidditch. So I don't think it was a lot of thought put into it. I think it's funny, though. Like in both the book and the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is funny that he gets this thing to help him remember. It tells him he's forgotten something, and the punchline, I can't remember what I forgot.
Yeah, but in the book, we don't get any indication what is that he actually forgot, when in the movie we kind of do.
Well,
so in the movie, if you look closely, you can see that. So this scene is like in the book is at the breakfast or at the lunch time. So they are in the Great Hall. They're having their food, and Neville is getting his Remembrall. It goes red, and so the camera pans to all the students who are at the table, and you can see that everybody's wearing their robe. Neville is not. He's only wearing the vest.
Ah.
Yep. So this is the implication.
I like that implication. Malfoy tries to take it, which is interesting and not a trait that we really see with Malfoy again, like this minor kleptomania.
It's more like, give me your lunch money.
Yeah, I guess. But
it's like this cliche bully, give me your lunch money thing.
As I've just confessed, I don't reread the books really except for 3 and 4. I don't know. Okay, like if I think about it, in the 3rd book, Malfoy like dresses up as a Dementor and makes his friends do it as well. That's pretty like stereotypical bully. So maybe I'm looking it over here. I guess it just seems odd to me because I see it as its purpose in the plot of the chapter, which is so that again Harry and Draco can have their kerfuffle later. I don't necessarily know if it was necessary, like to set up that Draco wanted it, because we know Draco's not a nice person. He could have just taken it at the Quidditch thing. He didn't need to take it now. He could have, like, if I was J.K. Rowling, if I got the contract to rewrite these books, I would just, like, have Malfoy eye the Remembrall, but not take it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then later when he has the opportunity, take it.
I see.
I think it also sets up that Professor McGonagall, who could spot trouble quicker than any of the teachers of the school, is someone who intervenes between students, which is used later.
And she would also then put Malfoy on her radar then.
So it's not like bad writing. I just find that what she's doing is she's setting up what's going to happen later with precedent. But what I think is bad writing is when the setup is done pretty obviously. And these are all really obvious setups to all get to the plot point that she wants this chapter to have. Well, not the only one. There's two, I would say, plot points in this chapter. Harry joining the Quidditch team and finding Fluffy, the dog. And this is just not necessary. We already know McGonagall is strict. We already know Draco's a bully. So it doesn't need to be set up here for us.
I guess, yes. That's an interesting point. Another point I wanted to make is in the next paragraph where they actually go to their flying lesson to the other side of the grounds, which is on the opposite side of the grounds to the Forbidden Forest. So I don't know how it is in your copy of the book. In my copy here, Forbidden Forest is in lowercase.
Oh, mine is uppercase capitalized.
Mine is all lowercase, which I don't know if it was a misprint, because I think this is the only instance of that I see.
Okay.
The Forbidden Forest is all in lowercase. And then the preposition that is used after that is whose, as if it is a living thing. Is it the same in your copy?
Yeah, I have that as well.
Whose. So I would understand that if the Forbidden Forest was like in your copy capitalized. So it is like an entity in its own.
Well, so we've established that we have one copy that we thought hopefully was a first edition. It's not. I think they just, when they sent it over to be printed in Canada, they're like, this is the text we used for the first one. You can use it as well. Yeah, so like the one I have, the wand is not listed twice in the other equipment.
Yeah, this one, the wand is listed twice.
Yeah, so I think the one I have has had its corrections done.
Got it. So this is something that I wanted to note, that this happens. The Forbidden Forest is all in lowercase, and this is weird for me to see. But yeah, and then we get to meet Madame Hooch, wonderful last name.
I also like that she's an example of a magic user who seems like they've done some aesthetic changes, like the yellow eyes like a hawk. And I appreciate that in the first Harry Potter movie, they include that. It's very visually distinctive. It does make me wonder, though, because like you can change your appearance permanently with magic. We know from the fourth book that Hermione has her teeth affected by a potion to make them bigger. And she'd been like nervous.
So she got hit in the face by a rogue spell and her teeth started growing. And then when they were shrinking them at the medical wing, she said to stop a little bit later.
Yeah, because she had big front teeth and she wanted them reduced. And she'd been asking her parents for permission to reduce them with magic before. So it seems that like aesthetic changes is possible with magic, permanent aesthetic changes, but doesn't seem to be that popular.
Yeah, so this is not Capital.
Not the capital.
Not Capital, not Hunger Games. So I wanted to ask you about the wonderful last name of Madame Hooch. So is this supposed to mean what I think it means? So Hooch is kind of a moonshine thing.
That my understanding
like a drink, alcoholic drink. Because obviously this is not translated into the Russian version. This is going to be the only instance of a Comrade's Corner today. Because this is the only thing I want to notice. In the Russian translation, Madame Hooch has been translated to Madame Trick.
Huh. I don't know how I feel about that.
Me neither.
I wonder why. Like maybe there's just not would you call someone Mrs. Mrs. Little Vodka?
So the thing is that the other translation that you remember I was telling you, the atrocious one.
Yeah.
They did translate it into like the Madame Moonshine.
Okay.
And that was, that this translation was not popular.
Maybe this is a rare example of Russian people being like, we shouldn't expose our children to alcohol content early in their lives.
Right.
This chapter has answered for me a very important question. How many people are in each year at Hogwarts? Well, we know that between Slytherin and Gryffindor first years, there are 20 students.
Yep.
And we know some of their names. So there's Harry Potter, Ron Weasley, Dean Thomas, Seamus Finnegan, Neville Longbottom, and then there is Hermione Granger, Lavender Brown, who's not in this scene explicitly, but we know is with them, and Parvati. So that leaves 2 Gryffindors, or given that we never see another first-year Gryffindor girl, I'm going to guess that that's actually it. And then there's 12 Slytherins, of who are named is, we have Draco Malfoy, we have Crabbe and Goyle, and then also, wasn't Blaise
Zabini,
in the chapter, The Sorting Hat, and then we have Pansy Parkinson. Any others that you can think of?
In this year?
Yeah.
No, because we never hear about any other Slytherin girls other than Millicent Bulstrode in the second book from the same year.
Okay, so there's Millicent Bulstrode.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But we don't see another Slytherin girl from the same year. I don't think so.
Okay, so there's 8 Gryffindors in this year, and there is 12 Slytherins. And we know 6 of them. So we know that Malfoy ends up marrying someone Greengrass, who's the younger sister of somebody in their year.
Daphne Greengrass.
What house was Daphne in?
I'm not quite sure because I don't think we see her sorted.
Can we use the little internets? Because I'm wondering if she was in Slytherin or whether her sister was.
So Daphne Greengrass was apparently in the same year, according to the Harry Potter wiki. So another Slytherin girl.
Okay, so then Daphne Greengrass is in this.
In this year, yes. And Astoria is her younger sister, 2 years younger.
I think something I'm going to keep track of is just how many people we know from each house. Make a little spreadsheet. I like my spreadsheets.
But as I told you that there is a list of the first years from Harry Potter's year written by J.K. somewhere out there.
But you also mentioned it's a draft.
It's a draft, so it's not complete and it's not verifiable, really.
So that, for me, was very helpful. So I'm like, okay, we know how many kids there are. And this also says that, like, it's probably not a significant decrease from previous years, because if it was, it'd probably have been mentioned at some point in the later books. And we wouldn't have to theorize about it. I don't know, maybe I'm giving the author too much credit here, but I think with this line that there were only 20 students, she kind of knew what she was doing. Like, these are small classes. So, yeah.
They're double classes.
Okay, and then the flying begins with the great line of, you put your hand over the room and you say up.
Up.
And I'm going to keep an eye on this going forward, because I don't think in any other books they do this to get on a broom. They just get on their broom.
They don't even they don't even cause it to go up verbally or non-verbally. They just
put a leg
over and just go.
Yeah. So I think this is something that is forgotten about,
I guess.
And Harry's great at this. Other people are not. And then Madam Hooch goes around, gives him advice. Harry and Ron are both secretly happy that Malfoy has apparently been holding the broomstick wrong for years. This is, again, another example of, like, our limited third person expanding into the omniscient narrator, because how can Harry know that Ron was delighted?
Maybe they shared a little, like, ratty look, like,
Yeah.
So what I like about this scene of Neville injuring himself sounded totally wrong, but I do like it that the broomstick just sped towards the Forbidden Forest, and apparently there's just a rogue broomstick somewhere out there. We never get it back.
Wild. Love that.
A wild broomstick.
So Neville's very nervous and not good at this, and that's fine. He doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
This is scary. If I was riding a broom at 11, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. It's like, how do you even hold yourself on that thing?
I don't know. Like, is it also...
Are you worried about splinters?
Well, there's no seat on a broom.
Yeah.
So what are you sitting on? Just like the pole?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Like, you should have a seat.
Yes.
Yeah. So then Neville falls and has a broken wrist. She then leaves the kids to stay there while she deals with it.
I don't think this is how it's supposed to be handled.
No.
In this case, another student should have accompanied Neville to the hospital wing.
Someone responsible, like Hermione. Yeah. And she says the famous line, "You leave those brooms where they are or you'll be out of Hogwarts before you can say Quidditch."
Also, my question is kind of like, is that maybe it's just a standard procedure of just like getting students to the hospital wing, because apparently you can just mend bones within minutes. Mm-hmm. And Madame Hooch, being a fully trained wizard, probably could have done that on the spot.
I think this is something you have to like specialize in. Like it's not taught at
healing.
Hogwarts.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So she never went to healing school, and I don't think she did. Then she probably wouldn't know how to do it. But I suppose like if you're a wizard normally, wouldn't you learn how to do a little bit of healing? Or maybe not.
Well, Luna can mend Harry's nose in the 5th book, while Luna is 14.
Maybe Luna has an interest in that, though.
And she was like, oh, I've mended a couple toes before.
I don't know. It's something where, like, I say, well, shouldn't you know how to fix that? But then, like, if I broke a bone, I don't know how to put, like, in it, not a splint. Was that what it's called?
Splinter, yeah.
I don't know how to do a splint or anything to keep it in the right position until I get to the hospital. So maybe I'm being overly critical.
Maybe.
And then Malfoy starts being a
Malfoy.
prick. Yeah.
I do like that Parvati is sticking up for Neville, but also there's something interesting that I want to point out, that Pansy Parkinson calls her by like first name basis, which is interesting because we don't really see that a lot unless people are friends, or like at least on like friendly terms. Mm-hmm. So we know that both Harry and Draco call each other by the last names. Mm-hmm. Harry is friends with Ron. They call each other by first names. So this is kind of like, this is an interesting point. So maybe they know each other?
Maybe.
Like from before Hogwarts?
That would be interesting.
Because apparently they're both like pure blood families.
Oh, then possibly. I mean, maybe they live near each other and they...
Yeah.
Also, it's not like the Weasleys where you have an entire family of people there for your kids to hang out with. Maybe they've like had play dates or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And Harry shows again that he's a pretty good boy when he defends Neville's thing. Though I will say, earlier in the chapter, Harry and Ron were both willing to fight Malfoy just for like defending Neville just to have a reason to fight Malfoy.
Yeah.
So this is my praise has some caveats to it. And Hermione does a classic Hermione being like, we have rules. And Harry goes,
well, fuck those rules.
Mm-hmm. Then the line is used, Harry ignored her, blood pounding in his ears. And I don't know, maybe this is from 1997. This was her first book. But like, has anyone ever had blood pound in their ears?
Like, have you never had this when you hear your heartbeat?
No.
Because I had that.
Okay. No, I've never had this.
So you hear your heartbeat really, really loudly.
No, never.
In your ears, yeah. That happens.
Okay. This is just my body being a little
Yes,
different.
your body does not do that, apparently.
Yeah, I always thought it was just a figure of speech. Where I'm like, I've never felt that when I get angry. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
And here I really like this line that Harry realized had found something he could do without being taught. This was easy. This was wonderful. This is about his first flight ever. I do like that because I can relate to that feeling. I'm like, oh, when you're naturally good at something, it is a wonderful feeling.
Mm-hmm. We have mild gender stereotypes where when Harry pulls his broomstick up a little to take it even higher, he heard screams and gasps of girls.
Boo.
Because also, how can you hear a gasp that... But what even does a gasp sound like?
Gasp!
That's the only way I've ever used it, is dramatically. Is what I'm
Clutch thy
thinking.
pearls.
Yeah, like... But I'm like... That's okay. Does anybody actually gasp? Anyway, this is me being like, is this something that other people's bodies do? Mm-hmm. Malfoy realizes that Harry is good at flying and then throws the remember all away.
I like how his confidence just gradually drains out of him. Like when he's like, oh, he's good at this and I'm up here alone. Fuck.
This might be another moment where Malfoy's worldview is getting smashed a bit more. Because Harry's technically a half-blood.
Yes.
And apparently he's just as good, if not better, at flying than Malfoy, who's been flying for years.
And he gets that rubbed into his face later when Harry makes it to the Quidditch team. So, yeah, I understand why he would be bitter.
And then we have Harry catching the ball. Very dramatic. Also, M-dashes are used here. Pre-ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild when I saw that. I was just like, is that AI? But I'm like, no, this was published in 1997.
So I think those are N dashes, actually, not M dashes.
Okay.
Because I may be wrong on that. It could be M dashes, but I feel like what the punctuation that ChatGPT uses right now is that there is no space before and after the M dash. I feel like this is what ChatGPT uses right now.
Okay.
I am not sure about that. Do your own research. Take everything I say with a grain of salt.
We're not the smartest, but we have the most vibes about this book.
We're not the sharpest tools in the shed, but we are still tools.
Yes. I keep forgetting this every time. 'Cause I read this chapter 3 or 4 times in preparation. And I always forget that after he catches it, he pulls the broom straight from the dive and then just rolls off of it. Which, because, yeah, he doesn't know how to stop.
Yeah, it makes
like,
sense.
Where does his broom go?
Apparently, there's another rogue broom in the Forbidden Forest.
So, like, his broom just disappears from the chapter.
Just as Neville's did. So apparently there's a couple of rogue brooms somewhere out there. You can find it.
So McGonagall is seeing them and is very upset, but also I think the gears in her mind are turning at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although it's interesting, if you take her by words alone, she doesn't seem very upset with him, more so not for flying because it's breaking the rules, but because of the danger it posed.
Yeah.
Which is a good teaching move.
I can totally see that. And then McGonagall takes Harry with her towards the castle. And Harry goes through all the spirals of, I'm going to be expelled now. I'm going to have to go back home. Oh, no. I did it. Now I did it.
Then he has a thought, which is both hopeful and sad, where he's like, maybe I could be Hagrid's assistant because he was expelled but allowed to stay on. And he thinks about the sadness of watching all of his friends and other people in his class becoming wizards while he has to stay there. And I'm like, I wonder how Hagrid felt. Probably like that.
I guess, yeah.
Although Hagrid loves animals, maybe it would be different.
Maybe.
Yeah. Or no, he seems very happy with his position. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, like he likes simple pleasures, simple life, like very minimal. He's very hygge.
Let me change what I'm trying to say. It's like he's not, he doesn't like want to make this huge name for himself, but he's like doing what he likes. He's with animals. He's taking care of Hogwarts, which he loves, that sort of thing.
Yes.
And also you think about it, I don't know where else he would have gotten a job.
With Mr. Scamander?
Oh yeah, maybe. I haven't watched those films.
I feel like this is a totally missed opportunity.
Well, she didn't know at this point that this was going to be a thing. Anyway, that's not an excuse if you're an aspiring writer. Like, if you're going to add on to your world, you should try to make the most amount of sense.
So the thing that it makes me have mixed feelings is when Professor McGonagall asks Professor Flitwick to borrow wood for a moment. Harry's mind goes straight to corporal punishment and bodily harm. I do not know how to feel about that.
We learned earlier in the book that Dudley's going to a school where, as part of the uniform, boys get sticks to hit each other.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys have any form of corporal punishment in Russia?
Where?
In school.
In school, no. That is illegal in school.
Okay, interesting.
But at home?
That's a different story.
Of course.
Yeah. But it's interesting. So in Canada, it's still legal for teachers to use it. And the reason why is like they're worried that if they get rid of it, if a teacher pulls a student off another student and that student they pull is injured, then the teacher would be liable. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's still on the books, so to say. I mean, there's contention around it, sure, but it's still technically legal. But no, we don't have corporal punishment. But like my preconception of a traditional British school is that they 100% have corporal punishment.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, it kind of makes sense in my mind. But I do not like the idea that this is where Harry's mind went straight.
We have pretty well established that he's not in a good situation at home. I always found it kind of amusing. Was Wood a cane she was going to use on him?
But no, it's just another student, a burly 5th-year, apparently with an Irish accent.
So it's not an Irish accent in the full cast audio.
Okay. Yes, but Sean Biggerstaff, yeah.
We haven't really talked extensively about how Ireland and the UK relate in terms of magic, and we haven't really come up with an answer. We see that Peeves is afraid of McGonagall because he runs away as soon as she wants the classroom he's in. It was funny. It says that Peeves was busy writing rude words on the blackboard. I want to know what the words were.
I kind of want to know too.
Like, so there's this. So for our listeners who know, one of the book series that we like, but we acknowledge and affirm that it is poorly written and trash is Twilight.
Yeah.
And there's a line in the book Midnight Sun, which if you're not aware is Stephanie rewriting her first book for the 3rd time.
Yes, from a different perspective.
Yeah. And there's this moment where the vampire main love interest is saving the human female love interest from a car accident. And as he stops it, this line is so cringe. He utters a word that should never be spoken in the presence of a lady.
Oh my God.
And I just read that and I thought of that. I'm just like, what was the word? Peeves, what were you writing on the board? What does an 11-year-old consider rude words?
I don't know. Could have been boobs for all I know.
Yeah. So we find out that Wood is not a cane, it's a boy, and he's captain of the Quidditch team. And McGonagall is not punishing Harry. She's using him to get back at Snape.
I think she is betting.
She's making a bet. Anyway, for our listeners who haven't read this chapter for some reason, McGonagall's like, Wood, I found you a seeker. A seeker is a position on the Quidditch team. We'll learn more about that in future chapters. And Wood is very happy because they need a good seeker.
I wonder because the Quidditch tryouts already took place. They were taking place on the 2nd week.
Yeah.
We were in the 3rd week.
Yeah. So they clearly didn't find anybody.
Or did they? And then they just like, oh, no, there's going to be this 11-year-old now.
I think it would have been mentioned.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Although I say that, we don't even know all the people in most of the...
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't. I don't know. That would have been so embarrassing if they found somebody and they said, actually, we're retracting your offer.
Yeah, so McGonagall presents Harry as a seeker, and Oliver Wood cannot believe his luck. Professor McGonagall describes Harry's adventures with Flourish and says Charlie Weasley couldn't have done it.
Yeah, so apparently Charlie Weasley was a very good seeker.
Yes, well, he was a Quidditch captain.
It's interesting, though. So Charlie Weasley is described in the books. We do meet him as like broad-shouldered.
Yeah.
Is he not? Like, not like Ron or even, I think it's Bill who's tall and thin. Like Charlie is swole-ish.
Yeah, he's the same build as the twins.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Wood mentions that Harry here has just the right build, light and speedy, which is not what you would think of Charlie, but maybe you can have different type of seek. Maybe Charlie's skills was such that he overcame his physical disadvantages.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a short person playing basketball or something. It is also interesting where I'm wondering, like, so Harry's like 11, so he's either like entering puberty or like hasn't entered puberty, but he's far from done.
Yeah.
And he has the right build. Like, you don't know what his build's going to be in a few years.
He could have gone through like a growth spurt of something.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, is it just like not fat, essentially, is the requirement?
Well, I guess Harry is still kind of looking malnourished at this point because it's been only 2 weeks. Maybe he has started to put on some weight.
Maybe.
But not enough, apparently.
And Wood says you got to get him a decent broom, a Nimbus 2000 or a Clean Sweep 7, which makes me wonder, like, how expensive is a Nimbus 2000? Because we know Firebolt was price upon request.
Yes.
So, and also this is paid for by either Professor McGonagall herself or the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Do they have like a student relief fund or something?
Sports has like a budget usually, but if they have a budget. Why are the first years using old bad brooms?
So see that they have school issued brooms. They have school supply of brooms,
Yeah.
but they're like bad.
Yeah.
So this they must have been bought by McGonagall herself, because if it was bought by a school, it would belong to school.
Yeah.
And Harry would just be like using the broom, just in possession of it.
That makes sense. That's great of her.
Oh, yeah.
And she reprimands him that he better work at being good at Quidditch or else she might actually punish him.
And then she says, your father would have been proud. He was an excellent Quidditch player himself.
Which is very kind to say.
It is very kind to say, yes. But what I want to say is, it doesn't matter how stern McGonagall looks and how much of an impression you have about her that you should not cross her. If a teacher you trust says something like that about your parent, I would be asking all sorts of questions about my father.
I think he's still intimidated by her, though.
Yeah. So this is like the only thing that I can think of that stops him.
I have to say I like this better than how they do in the film, because in the film it's like Hermione found out by looking at trophies, and like Hermione's not looking at a sports trophy.
Yeah. And also James Potter was not a seeker.
But was he?
A chaser.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that scene with James Potter catching a snitch by the tree, it's like he stole a snitch.
So then we go to Harry telling Ron what had happened, because even though he has to keep it on the DL, he tells Ron because they're besties. Ron is really amazed and also happy for him. I do notice that we're like, this book, let me rephrase this. So in the book, we established that Ron has like issues with self-esteem because his brothers are all very impressive. But what's really sweet in this book is like he never puts that onto Harry.
Yeah.
Now it will later, and I think that that's a good character choice, because how could it not happen later?
Yeah.
But
I feel like in this instance, their friendship is still so fresh.
yeah,
And they both are very much kind of like on the same level of progress through the social environment of the school that, yes.
it's all not something that Harry's like searched for.
Yeah.
Like it happened to him.
Oh, yeah.
And I can understand getting frustrated when this happens multiple times, but this is the first time in Ron's being a great friend.
So Harry is supposedly the youngest house player in about a century. So I wonder who it was before.
And also, if Harry started like 2 weeks after he started first year, did this one make it in the tryouts? Okay, this is my theory. It used to be okay for first years to try out for Quidditch. Someone did a first year, got onto a team, and that's how they were able to do it, because Quidditch tryouts happened in the second week, a week before Harry, and then got into a horrible injury and died. And that's why the rule came in.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
And that's why there hasn't been one for a century.
Interesting. Interesting. So you are actually giving it a different twist than people believe online.
Oh, what do people believe online?
People believe online that the previous youngest, not seeker, but a player on a Gryffindor team or any house team ever was Dumbledore.
Why? What evidence is there?
None.
He's just great at everything.
And
so
it's just like the timelines kind of
I guess.
work. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I think something horrible happened, because why else would the rule be there?
Exactly. So I think this is a much better explanation.
And like, if we're being completely honest about Hogwarts' track record with keeping students alive, which isn't...
It's not
not great.
Good.
You know, it's not as bad as like some schools in media, but like, it's not great. And like, kids had died in other things like the Triwizard Tournament and things. So I think more than one first year had to die for this rule to come in.
I guess.
Then we have Fred and George, who are congratulating him, and we learn that they're on the team as well. They're beaters.
Woohoo! Fred says that we haven't won since Charlie left.
When did Charlie leave?
I will have to consult the internets, because this only can be their second year on the team, because they are in their third year.
And would have had observed Charlie.
Yeah.
So he can only be 4 years older than Oliver Wood, who's 15 at the maximum.
So apparently he started school in 1984. Yeah, his 7th year was, so like he left school the previous year.
Okay, that makes more sense. That's the vibe I was getting.
Yeah, so basically Charlie was on the team with Fred and George. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we have they're leaving because a friend of theirs, Lee, has found a new secret passageway.
Apparently.
They don't think so. And it's behind, they think it's the one behind the statue of Gregory the Smarmy. I love that statue, that idea. I don't think this goes anywhere. Like the next time we talk about secret passageways in any seriousness, I think is the 3rd book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like this one is mentioned, but this is apparently one of the blocked ones.
Oh, wait, sorry. I got to acknowledge. Yes, there's a secret passageway into the Chamber of Secrets, but in terms of students using it for mischief, I would say it's the 3rd book.
Yes.
Yeah. And by that point, they have the Marauder's map, so they're no longer exploring anything.
Who they?
Harry or anybody? Like,
so, yeah, Fred and George got the map on their first year.
yeah, so they're no longer...
So that's why they know
Yeah.
already about, oh, this is probably this passage, that
Yeah.
passage.
So I don't think anyone finds another one by exploration except for the one in the bathroom that goes to the Chamber of Secrets, which also, I wonder if it's on the Marauder's map.
I don't think anything that Marauders did not know about is on the map.
Interesting. Conversations for the 3rd book.
Woo!
Malfoy comes up to be a bully and is like, when are you going to be expelled? Harry replies that he's brave now because his like friends who are bigger than him are around him. And then Malfoy goes, I'll fight you anytime. Tonight if you want. Wizard's duel. Wands only. No contact. What's the matter? Never heard of a wizard's duel before, I suppose? Do you like that voice?
Yeah, but what is a wizard duel? It's a duel, but it's with wizards.
Yeah, I think this is a moment where the naming wasn't thought out. Like the Remembrall, great name.
Yeah.
This one is like, it would just be a duel for them. It wouldn't be a wizard's duel.
I guess.
Okay, correct me if I remember this wrong, but in the 2nd movie, I know they have a dueling club.
Yes.
In the book, they have it as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't call it a wizard's dueling club.
No,
Yeah.
it's just a dueling club.
Yeah, so I think this is something that gets abandoned.
And apparently they have like a competitive dueling because Flitwick is a dueling champion.
I like that idea.
Yeah. He's very good at what he does.
Ron immediately goes like, yeah, Harry's heard of it. I'm his second. Who's yours? And then Malfoy decides between his 2 friends who he clearly thinks are dumber than him, who he thinks is less dumb, which is Crabbe. So I wonder how Goyle feels. Oh, which one was the one in the 7th book who like rejects Malfoy and then dies in the fire?
Don't ask me. I do not remember.
Okay. So gentle readers, in the 7th book, Draco is going to like hunt Harry for Voldemort, and Crabbe and Goyle are with him, and then one of them
He's like, fuck you.
Yeah, he rejects Draco's authority.
Casts fiend fire.
Yeah, sets everything on fire. And I wonder if this
dies.
is the one who was considered not as smart. I guess it doesn't really matter which one, but I kind of want to keep my eye on it.
They're always like a one entity again. They're almost like Fred and George.
Yeah.
But like much less pleasant.
Yeah. Their purpose until I think the 7th book where we see that change is just to be Malfoy's muscle.
Yep.
And so they all agree to the duel. Harry's not sure what he's agreed to. And Ron tells him that a second is the person who takes over if you die. But that's not going to happen because you guys don't know any magic. And Ron has his finger on the pulse there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ron is right. And he's like, oh, you're just going to like send sparks at each other like Max. And then
And what if I wave my wand and nothing happens? Throw it away and punch him in the nose.
I love this line.
And then but they had just established the rules are no contact.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, dude. And then, of course, Hermione has to come up.
Yep. I couldn't help overhearing what you and Malfoy were saying. Bet you could, Ron muttered, which, yeah, true.
They both are pretty rude to her.
Yeah, so I was thinking, because throughout the chapter, they're a little bit, so Ron's always rude to her.
Yeah.
Harry gets a little bit more rude to her than we usually see. Mostly he keeps it on the inside. And I think that's setting up for the next chapter.
I guess.
Because the next one is where they decide to go save her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's to show that, like, even if they have a personal disagreement over this matter, they still do the right thing.
I agree.
And Hermione has a very good point, which she herself will break very often in these books, where you mustn't go wandering around the school at night. Think of the points you'll lose, Gryffindor, if you're caught, and you're bound to be. It's really very selfish of you.
Kind of is.
Yeah, like she's right, but also after this book, I think her and Harry and Ron have no problem wandering at night, especially because they get the invisibility cloak.
The invisibility cloak, and then this rule gets suspended.
As soon as she knows that she can break the rule without having consequences, she's like, this doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, yeah. And then from there, we go to blackmailing grown wizards.
Then they're getting ready to go. They go. So apparently the trophy room is somewhere that they can get to within like a 15-minute walk, because they get ready to go at 11:30. They have some stumbles along the way, and they still get there on time.
I totally forgot that they go out there in their dressing gowns. And when I was reading this chapter again, I was like, oh my God, they're just walking into the duel in their like bathrobes.
Yeah. I've always thought
not a good look.
Well, I got you a dressing gown.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like it, right?
Yes.
She would say that anyways, because we're on air.
It is satin, and it is like this periwinkle blue, and it is very nice to touch.
It's Halston.
And I love it. I wear it when it's too hot.
Hermione does a classic sitting in the dark waiting for them in the common room and then turns the lamp up as soon as they walk in.
Just like such a villain move.
Yeah.
Ha ha, gotcha.
She's like the disappointed parent.
It's really, really funny.
And then she says, I almost told your brother. And we know immediately it's not Fred and George. Percy, he's a prefect. Yeah, we all know.
We know. Hermione, we know.
So they leave and Hermione is following them, hissing like an angry goose. I love that line.
Well, we are very familiar with the hissing of angry geese.
Mm-hmm.
We live in Canada. There's an abundance of those here.
Don't you care about Gryffindor? Do you only care about yourselves? I don't want Slytherin to win the House Cup, and you'll lose all the points I got from Professor McGonagall for knowing about switching spells. And she has a point here. If I had been winning points for my house, I would also be upset by this.
Yeah.
I did have a thought, though. Hermione, secret conservative. Because it's like, I pay more in taxes, so I get to say what other people do with the government money.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It brings me back to like, yep, these are kids because they really care about the House Cup. So Hermione tries to go back into the common room because they're being bad boys. And then the fat lady just decided to go away.
She just decided to see her friend or something, which, again, this is not the only instance of that. Mm-hmm. And then they stumble upon Neville sleeping in the hallway. And I totally forgot how bonkers this whole chapter was, because this is really bonkers. Mm-hmm. This is like, Neville has been discharged from the hospital wing for hours.
Yeah.
He just forgot the password, and like he just decided to snooze in the hallway.
It makes you think, like, did he have to? So this happened at 3:45 or something. Yeah. Then the dinner scene happens, you presume around like what, 6, 7, whatever they have dinner in the United Kingdom. And then so they didn't see Neville at dinner because earlier in this chapter, they note that he's probably still at the hospital wing.
But Neville says that Madame Pomfrey mended his wrist in about a minute.
So where was he?
We will never know.
I think it's interesting, though, that like by the time he got to the common room, people were not coming in and out of it.
Yeah.
So do you know when curfew is?
I have no idea, but I would presume it is either 9 or 10.
Isn't it just like, they say like after dark or whatever? Oh, it's in this chapter as well. No, it's not. It's wandering around at midnight. Okay, never mind. So there's like a time that you're not supposed to be out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Neville was doing something and got to the common room probably close to that time and then couldn't get in. Or, well, we also know because he says he's been there for hours. So if we use the plural, 2 hours at the minimum, he got there at like 10.
Yeah.
Which, that feels a little late for curfew for an 11-year-old.
I guess.
And like, then I wonder, well, did people just not let him in? But it's the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of term. Like, they're still going to let him in. It can't be that multiple people were like, no, Neville, I'm not going to help you with this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he must have come later.
Yes. This is so weird. Maybe he was looking for his Remember All.
Maybe.
That's the only explanation I can find.
So then they all go to the duel because Harry and Ron are going and Neville and Hermione have nowhere else to go because they can't get back into the common room.
Yep.
We learn again that the Bloody Baron is terrifying because Neville is scared of him. And everyone is scared of him, it seems. Ron looked at his watch and then glared furiously at Hermione. I forgot that watches were a thing.
Yeah.
Like, because we've talked about this. I haven't had a watch in years.
But also Ron gets another watch for his 17-year-old.
Yeah.
17.
Well, he gets a
birthday.
fancy watch
He
for that.
He gets a fancy watch.
Yeah.
Not like a fancy in terms of like expensive, but it's a sentimental gift.
I did want to ask, so Ron mentions soon afterwards the curse of the bogies. What's a bogey?
I think this is a Britishism. So
Okay.
the only other instance of the word bogey is when Ginny is using the bat bogey hex.
Is that like booger?
Booger?
That's what I always thought it was when Ginny did it.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering. Because why would that be in defense against the dark arts?
Apparently there is a meaning of an evil or a mischievous spirit
That would make more sense.
or a piece of nasal mucus.
Okay, so either could be true.
I guess, yeah.
And I mean, they are learning how to turn matchsticks into needles in Transfiguration, so maybe this is where Quirrell is starting them off. It's also, he's Voldemort Quirrell now, so maybe that he doesn't want them actually learning defense against the dark arts.
Yeah. It's like, let's learn how to make boogers.
So they get to the trophy room, and Malfoy and Crabbe aren't there yet. The trophy room is decked out with stuff.
Yes, and also I was wondering about how this even works. So like, is the trophy, like, is it a passing trophy or for every instance they have to make another trophy?
Also, like, the only trophies I remember from, like, school were the ones that you got from competing at, like, inter-school events.
I remember there was the Quidditch Cup, there's the House Cup, which is a passing trophy.
Yeah.
Then there was the award that Tom Riddle got, and it is in there in the trophy room.
So maybe it's just a collection of, wow, you're great at Hogwarts. Maybe there's some old Triwizard cups there.
Maybe, and also it's like, I don't know if you had that in the school. It was like the wall of fame or whatnot.
Oh, like best student or whatever?
Best students or
No.
whatnot. You didn't have that? We had that in our Russian schools. And for several years, I wasn't one.
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations. What was your achievement?
Well, I was getting really great marks.
Oh, well, of course, because you're a smarty pants.
Yeah,
Except
but
in literature.
7 years straight, I was a straight A student.
Oh, good for you.
But then I just decided that I just got bored of
You were
it.
too cool for
It was
this.
too cool for that. So I decided to be rebellious. And then I started listening to My Chemical Romance.
What did Tatiana think of that?
Of what?
Of you not being the straight A student anymore, or My Chemical Romance, either one.
We're not going to talk about that.
Okay, fine.
You're not my therapist.
Ouch. Okay, I'm just your best friend. Anyway, so Malfoy and Crabbe don't show up, and I'm 100% sure Hermione is right, where they're just like, hey, we're going to get them to go out of their dormitory at night
Yeah.
and get them caught. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's a Slytherin move.
That's his little move. And I feel like this is brilliant planning for an 11-year-old.
So Filch is there, and he has his weird way that he speaks to his cat.
That we definitely don't do,
Oh, yeah, we would never have pet names and affection for our cat.
right?
Yeah, and talk to them like they're a human being. That would never happen. No cat owner does that. So I have to eat my words. This is the other mention of a suit of armor, where it is Neville and Ron by accident run into a suit of armor, and it crashes loudly, and has a plot purpose because that makes them run very quickly. So this is the second mention of a suit of armor. We will see if there are any more. I still hold that this is not relevant and we never see it again, but we'll see.
And then they run.
With no idea of where they were going, they ripped through a tapestry and found themselves in a hidden passageway, which, like, did they know it was a hidden passageway, or did they just run through a tapestry? Because tapestries are on the wall.
But also in one of the previous chapters, we learned that Percy leads them through a passageway behind a tapestry.
Really?
on the way to the dormitory.
Oh, okay. That makes a bit more sense now.
So they must know about some hidden passageways behind some tapestries.
I'm curious. So a lot of books I've read so there was a big trend of like, kid goes to school that's not like a boarding school type situation, and it's ye olde and there's hidden passageways. Did you have any of that in Russian media? Of like old palaces have hidden passageways?
Well, of course, all old palaces have hidden passageways.
Servants passageways.
Yes, servants' passageways. This is, there's one instance of that in Anastasia.
So I don't mean like hidden passageways that are servants' passageways. So listeners, just so you understand, lots of old castles have separate passageways for servants to walk because the rich people didn't want to look at them while they did their job. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to like a passageway that is meant to be a secret.
Yeah.
And used for secret things.
Yeah. So I have to tell you that in Russian media, literature, there is not that many boarding type schools.
Okay.
So because those were like super ye olde notions for only like, rich people could afford to go to like, I don't know, like young ladies pension. Or like the type of school where all the poets, the friends of Pushkin were in one of those schools. It was like boarding type of school. But that was like a privilege of the rich.
And even the more privileged rich, I presume, would just have tutors or governesses at home.
Yes. So boarding schools and like schools in general are only like the rich thing, not very often in media. Then when the education became widespread with the Soviet rule, which those were just commie blocks.
Yeah.
Or if the school was rural, it was just like a wooden house.
Interesting. So even the gymnasium system?
Yeah, the gymnasium system too. It was more for privileged.
But like that was never a boarding school type situation.
No.
Okay. So a gymnasium system is a form of education where they separate kids out that have like an aptitude for a certain topic and they send them to these select schools.
Yes.
That specialize in this specific topic.
Yes, and the boarding schools were like never really a thing in the Soviet and post-Soviet times. Because as you know, with the commie blocks came the notion of the micro district.
Yeah.
And every micro district would have a school, which is micro district is when everything is within the walk-in distance. So there was no need.
So it's now called a 15-minute city and it's a cool urban planning thing, but the socialists did it decades ago.
Way earlier.
Yeah. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think it's a great idea.
I guess, yeah.
If that's the benefit, the thing you can do when you have centralized state planning is you can design cities in really interesting ways.
Right. Yeah. So everything's walking distance, no need for a boarding school. Again, right now, I know that there are some more modern media like TV shows. Just now, one just popped up in my mind, which is The Private School. This is called Private School.
Yeah.
The TV show is called Private School. So it is about the boarding type private school, but it's like way too modern. And I don't know if there is a trope of hidden passage there because I haven't watched it.
The one that stays up in my mind was this book series about like an American boarding school to teach like kids to be spies. It's like where they go before they're sent off to be a spy for the government. Now, I want to be very clear to everybody. That is not how spies work. Like the media idea of someone is trained to be a spy is not like the only example of it that is in any way accurate is actually a Soviet example where they would train people to essentially go live as sleeper agents in a different country in order to be able to carry out their wishes there. And that's like the closest that ever came to reality. Anyway, but this book series of this boarding school for girl spies had secret passageways. And the main character thinks the purpose of them is so to see which students can figure it out.
Interesting. Yeah, but here we know which students could figure it out.
Yep. The ones who get a map.
Oh, the ones who make a map.
Mm-hmm. So Hermione has a moment, which I appreciate as someone who has always loves this. I told you, Hermione gasped. I told you.
Because she told you. Mm-hmm. She did.
Malfoy tricked them. Hermione gives a very clear analysis of Malfoy's clever duplicity. And then they're running somewhere. And out of a classroom comes Peeves. And he is like, ooh, I'm going to maybe snitch on you. You're so naughty, you'll get caughty. I forgot how he likes to do these sort of rhymes.
Limericks and rhymes.
And Ron tries to take a swipe at Peeves, which I don't know what that means. Like, did he try to smack him?
I don't know.
Yeah. And Peeves yells, students out of bed! Students out of bed down the Charms corridor. So is the Charms corridor because Charms class takes place there? Or are there multiple Charms things happening there?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
But also, like, yeah, Peeves, you can see that he's like the manifestation of mayhem because he's now causing mayhem just to cause mayhem. Because for all he cares, students out of bed would be a good thing for him. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, mischief, cool, you're breaking the rules. But apparently not. He just likes causing trouble for the sake of causing trouble.
Mm-hmm. So they're running from Peeves. They go to the end of the corridor where they slam into a door and it is locked. Ron thinks the world is over and Hermione has a great moment. Oh, move over, she snarled. She grabbed Harry's wand.
Which I also underlined. I was like, what? Hello?
Tapped the lock and whispered, Aloha Mora.
I think JK still hasn't figured out the whole like wand passing thing here.
Yeah, we've already established that we have a couple instances of hand-me-down wands, which is not really a thing that should be given the abilities of wands.
Yep. And so if we think about it in a certain way here, so if the wand passing rule has not been established yet here, then this is just what it is. Hermione uses Harry's wand and there's nothing to it. If we apply the wand passing thing rule to this particular situation, this can only attest to like Hermione's skill because she uses a wand that is not her own and it works.
Yeah. So I guess either works, but I'm of the inclination that J.K. Rowling hadn't figured it out yet.
Yeah. And then Peeves plays games with Filch, which I, for some reason, believe he loves doing.
It's in a child's way, very funny. Then when both Peeves and Filch run away, Neville subtly informs Harry of the thing that he's been aware of this entire time, which is that they are in a room with a 3-headed dog.
Wow, I would have loved that. This whole 3 heads to pet.
So they're on the forbidden corridor in the 3rd floor, they realize, and now they know why it's forbidden. There's a monstrous dog which filled the whole space between the ceiling and the floor. It had 3 heads. And then they immediately run back. There's a great line. Harry groped for the doorknob. Between Filch and death, he'd take Filch.
Good instincts, as usual.
So I want to talk about this a little bit more, but let's just finish off the chapter quickly. They get out. They don't start running until they reach the fat lady and they can get into the Gryffindor common room. We have the moment where they're like, why is the dog there? This is a school. And then Hermione, who is both smart and upset, goes like...
And observant.
She's observant. She goes like, didn't you guys see he's on a trap door? He's guarding something. And then we have the perfect line. I hope you're pleased with yourselves. We could have all been killed or worse, expelled. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to bed. And the film changes the line afterwards.
Yep.
Which I think is a great change.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
And then Hermione had given something to think about. And he's thinking, okay, that he thinks the package from Gringotts is now underneath the dog.
Which he's not wrong. And again, there's an instance of Harry putting 2 and 2 together really, really fast. Mm-hmm. Once he's given the information clues, he's like, oh, this is what's happening.
So when I was a kid, it was obvious that the dog in this chapter is inspired by Cerberus, the dog who guards Hal in Greek mythology. I like the implication of that. I think it's a really good choice. I think it's a recognizable idea. It's a really great, taking something normal, a guard dog, and giving him 3 heads to show he's magical. Something, though, that I really wonder is, would a 3-headed dog really be more fearsome than a regular dog, or would it get confused? Like, which head is in control? And then also, is Fluffy, because we know his name is Fluffy, is he from a special species of dog, which is like this, like a magical species, or is he a dog that had something bad happen to it?
So the thing is, Fluffy on Harry Potter Wiki is listed as three-headed dog. It is also known as a Cerberus, and this is a very rare magical beast. So it is a species.
Okay, yeah. So maybe it has other abilities that make the three heads work together.
There is apparently a tapestry of a three-headed dog that was hung in the walls of Hogwarts in 1800s.
Okay.
And in 1932, the Daily Prophet reported that a three-headed dog was lost in the London fog.
Is that semi-canon source or canon source?
Let me see. Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, okay. So semi-canon. So I think the intention with writing it here is a reference to Cerberus, but I'll take that he's actually a magical species that's rare. I think that's perfectly acceptable and I like it. I do think it's interesting that this terrifying beast, like Hagrid just casually has one. Love that.
He got it from a Greek chap at a tavern.
He seems to get a lot of things at taverns.
Yeah, from different chaps.
Can you imagine a little puppy
with
Fluffy?
three heads? Yeah,
that'd be so
I can
cute.
imagine. I can imagine.
I think this is a pretty good chapter. It's interesting. It kind of has like 2 3-act structures within it. So you have the build up to the learning to fly on the broomsticks, the climax of diving for the ball, and then the resolution of Harry realizing he's going to be on the Quidditch team. And then you have it happen again with like the building tension of the duel, going to the duel, but having the real climax be the race through the school and finding the door, finding Fluffy, and then the resolution of them running back and getting to safety.
Yes, but also uncovering another clue, which again, this is a breadcrumb. Mm-hmm. And again, we're given it right in the end of the chapter, which is, I feel like it's very effective. Mm-hmm. It's almost the same thing as we had in the previous chapter, where right towards the end, we're getting just a little breadcrumb of what's going on with the Philosopher's Stone and this whole mystery.
So I think that, I'll reiterate, I think J.K. Rowling's a pretty good mystery writer. For a kid's book, I think this is exceedingly well done. Like, I don't mean in the sense that kids need more simple mysteries than adults. I think that most people, when they're reading a mystery book, don't want something exceedingly complicated.
Yes, I would argue that most people want to solve the mystery themselves before the book can do it for them.
And I think that the book really well sets up Harry trying to figure out like what's happening with this package, the stone, that sort of thing. And then it has a really great climax where you have the trials to get to the stone, which, you know, we don't know beforehand really what they're going to be. So I think that there's a nice amount of surprise there. There's a really great surprise with Quirrell being the villain, and also a really great sister surprise of Snape not being the villain.
Agreed.
Yeah, so very well done. I don't have much to say about this chapter.
It's very action-packed.
Very action-packed. I think it's setting up that Harry and Ron being a little bit meaner to Hermione to make when they go to save her in the next chapter stand out a little bit more.
I also feel like both Ron and Harry are pretty well established in this chapter to be the ones they would like to prove themselves that they're not worse than the others, both of them, because they both agree to that duel.
And they have the same dumb bravery.
Yeah, which I associate with Gryffindor a lot.
And the last thing is, I actually feel a bit for Malfoy in this chapter because there's a very clear rule.
Yeah.
That first years are not allowed to try out. And if they were willing to break the rule for one kid, why couldn't all of them try out?
Exactly.
Yeah, like even just a specialized first year tryouts to see whether or not they actually had the skill.
Yeah, but then instead of that, we're getting the precedent of preferential treatment.
Mm-hmm. Which is going to continue throughout. Yeah. Now, to say, Malfoy also gets preferential treatment, definitely from Snape. Also from, I would argue, society at large, because his father is rich.
Yes. So is it the bitterness about preferential treatment being not directed at him? Because I don't think he would give a damn if that was him instead of Harry. He wouldn't. He wouldn't be arguing for like, oh, let the other first years try out too.
No, he wouldn't. He's not doing this for altruistic reasons.
Yeah.
But like most people don't do it for altruistic reasons. they're denied something because of a rule and they're upset someone else was given an exception. Now, to be fair, we don't learn that a little bit until the next chapter, but it's set up here. So I feel a little bit of sympathy there. I think it is funny, though, that all the kids took it seriously, that if they rode a broom, they were going to be expelled.
I mean, it's their third week in the school. I guess there has to be a little bit of like fear still instilled in them.
Yeah.
Also, I was just thinking right now. So if the flying lessons are only for first years, which we don't know whether they are or not, but it is assumed, Madame Hooch must not be teaching full time.
I know she also referees the matches.
But there are like how many matches in the year? There's 4 teams and they just play each other.
So 16 matches. Well, it means 16 regular games and then supposed to be like tournament games, you know?
But there's less than that though.
Okay, yeah.
Because there's like 7 games.
I mean, is there? Like, do we know for sure? Because we only see the games that are plot relevant.
But we hear... So the thing is, Harry never goes to see the games of other teams.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't care about Quidditch that much,
No.
I guess.
Well, because I think what I'm trying to say is like maybe he does and it's just not plot relevant.
Yeah.
Because there has to be other games that Harry plays. Because we only see like, what, 1, maybe 2 games a book.
Each team only plays like 3 other teams.
Well, so I mean, like, so in this book, we don't see the Quidditch Cup. We just see the game where Harry eats the snitch.
Yes.
And the second one, do we see a Quidditch game in the second book? We
Yes.
see okay, which one? Is him versus Malfoy.
Yes, where he gets his arm broken.
Yeah. So, but the bigger thing there is that the bludger was enchanted to catch him. We don't see any of the other games. We don't see the cup.
I don't remember that, honestly.
I don't either. We know in the third, because that's a big plot point.
Yes.
And also we spend more time with Quidditch because Quidditch is where Harry's interacting with the Dementors.
Yes.
So we see, I think, 2 games in that book.
If not 3.
3, yeah. And that's the one where we hear about other games happening.
Yeah.
We don't see it in the 4th because it's canceled for the Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah.
And
you can't cancel Quidditch.
in the 5th one, we don't see it after 1 because Dolores Umbridge kicks them out of Quidditch.
Yeah.
And then in the 6th one, Harry's team captain, and you think you would see him a bit more, but you don't. In fact, well, we see Ron more. The game is about Ron. So I think we see at least 1, because that's where the Slytherins are awful to him. And then we see at least 1 more, or we know of at least 1 more that happens where he's...
And the Quidditch Cup one.
Yeah, and Harry, that's one we don't see as well, because Harry is put in detention by Snape.
So then which one is the one where they win and Ginny kisses him?
I think that's movie only.
Okay. I don't think so, though.
Well, we'll see at our 6th book reread.
Okay.
But I guess what I'm trying to think of here is like there has to be other games off page that we don't see that involve Harry.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Madam Hooch seems to be part-time work, but we've established we don't understand how money works in the wizarding world.
Or jobs.
Or jobs. Or...
Yeah, or anything, really.
Yeah.
It's not...
Yeah. So she only seems to do Quidditch. And good for her, you know, she has a little job to keep her busy.
Little side gig, little source of income.
Yeah.
Maybe her other source of income is her last name.
Yeah, maybe. Or also, like, there's other sports, allegedly, at Hogwarts.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Gobstones?
There has to be something else. Does a school only have one sport?
No idea.
Yeah.
What other sport would there be?
So my only, like, basis for this is in the 5th book, Dolores Umbridge bans all teams.
Yes, I guess.
So does she only mean Quidditch, or are there others? Is dueling considered a sport?
Well, it's competitive at
Yeah.
least because we know that Flitwick is a champion.
So maybe there is, but they just don't have one anymore.
I guess.
Anyway, these are things we'll be keeping an eye out as we go forward. I had a good time with this chapter. I think I brought up my writing critiques of it, but overall, you know, a very enjoyable chapter, especially like a lot's happening. Things are picking up quite a lot.
Yes. So the pace is picking up, and I do like that. But it doesn't feel rushed, though, because, you know, the pace is nice, especially for a child's book.
It is also going to increase because I just noticed we're like a little bit over half the book and we're just in September.
So there's going to be, because the next chapter is Halloween, which is the end of October.
Yeah, which is quite far away.
Yeah, but nothing happens between this chapter and the next chapter.
And by the end of the book, we're at the end of the school year, or at least around there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite some time of like just quiet life for Harry's friends. But the next chapter is going to be chapter 10 called Halloween.
Yes, it has the Shakespeare style, let's take out a letter to make this fit a certain amount of syllables.
So how would you say it?
Oh, I don't know. Halloween?
Halloween.
I never liked this. My understanding is that Shakespeare did it to make sure all of his stuff was iambic pentameter.
Yeah.
I don't know really. Pentameter is there's like 5 somethings in a line. I don't know what iambic means here. Sorry, guys. I haven't.
It's where the stress goes in the line.
So it would be alternating 5. So that would be
like da 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 da.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I never liked it. I don't like it. I think that's cheating to take out a little bit of a word just to make it fit a thing. I don't like it when songwriters do it. I don't like it when Shakespeare does it. Anyway, that'll be our next chapter.
Russian language is so much better in that case. Mm-hmm. We're going to see you in the next chapter, which is called Halloween. Mm-hmm. And this was us, Nicola and me, Xenia. And please follow us, leave us our comments if you are from Czech Republic.
We love
you. If you are not, we still love you. Apparently, we're getting more listeners in Mexico.
Adios. No, that's goodbye.
Hola, ¿cómo están?
Yeah. No habla español.
Yes.
We love you still, though.
Yes, and we will see you in the next chapter.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.